Welcome, Math 13 Elementary Statistics students. My name is Chris Moss, and I will be your instructor for the next 16 weeks. This is a brief introduction to myself and to let you guys know about how the course is going to be run this semester. This is for Math 13 students in sections 1048, 9060, and 9080. So if those are your sections, I'll be your instructor for the next 16 weeks. Now, I want to lay out how the class is going to proceed. We will be conducting our class entirely online. There are no in-class meetings. There are no face-to-face meetings. And our class will be conducted in what we call an asynchronous fashion. That is to say, there are no scheduled online lectures at any point during the semester. All the material is presented online via your Canvas course shell. And by the way, I'll have a companion video that will go through the details there. Now, because the class is asynchronous, it really puts a burden upon the student to make sure that they maintain adequate progress throughout the course of the semester. And I'll have some more to say about student obligation in a little bit. For now, I want to just convey that I'll be available via Zoom weekly for my student hours. These are student-centric hours. They are designed to answer your questions. Statistics is a very vocabulary-heavy and technology-heavy topic. So there's really a lot of hands-on stuff and a lot of very focused vocabulary. If you do not have someone to talk to about this material, it's very easy to get behind. In fact, behind quickly. So we have dedicated student hours. I'll be sending around those hours via an announcement in your Canvas course shell, but they will be Monday and Wednesday in the evening from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. and Tuesday and Thursday in the late afternoon, 4 to 5 p.m. On those days, you'll receive an announcement in your Canvas course shell that will contain a Zoom link so you can attend the office hours and have the good student-centric time that you all need. I also plan on trying something a little different this semester. I will be presenting an online lecture of only about an hour a week, once a week. I'll be sending around invites to the group, and the whole group can attend as if it were a regular lecture. I must point out that because the class is asynchronous, students are not obligated to attend. In fact, I will be making a recording for those students who cannot attend these short lectures. Basically, we'll focus on review, and it'll give me another opportunity to interact with students and answer your questions. So the focus really is on moving through the material at an adequate pace. We have a lot of detail to cover, and as I noted, the vocabulary and the technology are truly challenging in this course. So it will be a challenge to maintain that focus, and honestly, I'm going to really poke at you guys a lot, usually via your announcements, but you'll have some other points in the semester where you absolutely must respond to certain discussion prompts and the like. It's my way of ensuring that we have regular and meaningful contact, and I can monitor who's still involved in the course. As I say, it can be challenging. If you do find yourself falling behind, please come talk to me and we'll see what can be done. Now, that leads me into my next topic, the Panther Learning Lab. You might think that because of the pandemic, or because of being online, there is really little access to tutoring. This is not the case. This is not true. The Panther Learning Lab will be open for business, and they've done quite a brisk business of drop-in tutoring. Yes, you do need a Zoom account to make that work, but our math lab will be open for drop-in tutoring and dedicated and focused instruction and support. And again, I will be poking at students throughout the semester to remind you of those options and perhaps to work some of them into some of our assignments. So it's really important that we maintain this two-way street of discussion. And I can only do so much reaching out and poking. It really is incumbent, in other words, a responsibility of the student to maintain a line of communication. It's really easy to get behind on some of this material. Don't let that happen to you. Do not wait to get behind. You really do want to reach out to me starting pretty early in the process. You want to consider attending some of the drop-in sessions at the math lab, the Panther Learning Lab, as we like to call it. And by doing that, you can go ahead and maintain adequate progress throughout the course of the semester. There's a couple of points in time that are important. If students wish to drop this class after looking at it for a week or so, there is a final drop date. It will be in the syllabus, and I'll convey that via an announcement. If you drop before that, it's about 2 weeks in or so, you can get a full refund, and no one knows you were ever even here. Absent that, if you decide to commit to the course, as I hope you will, there is another final drop date about 75% of the way through the semester, the first week or so of May. So I will bug you again about that. That will be the last point at which a student can withdraw. So do be clear on that. There are some hard and fast dates getting in and out of the class. And I'll do my best to remind you. In fact, it'll be quite easy. So having said that, I will thank you again for enrolling in this course, and I will look forward to a nice semester. I like to enjoy the material. I find it very, very interesting. A little bit about myself. I graduated from Cabrillo College and transferred to UCSC. I got my master's degree in the fall of 1995, and I've been teaching mathematics at Cabrillo, MPC, and Hartnell ever since. My focus at UCSC was statistics. We did a research project at a local high school here in Salinas, Washington Middle School, and I got to use some very high-end statistics and work with some very, very talented individuals that really gave me a strong appreciation for the role that statistics plays in society. So I'll say a little bit about that as we go through our material this semester. But for now, this is my introduction. I'll thank you again for attending, and I'll look forward to working with you. For now, goodbye. We'll see you real soon.